Welcome to our deep dive. Given your expertise in machine learning, data science, and mathematics, I think you'll find today's topic particularly relevant.
Yeah.
We're going to be exploring a paper titled Preliminary Findings about DevSecOps from Gray Literature, which takes a unique approach to understanding this evolving field.
Absolutely. And by using a gray literature review, the paper really dives into industry articles, white papers, and even blog posts to capture those real-world perspectives of practitioners on the front lines of DevSecOps. This offers a valuable snapshot of how DevSecOps is being understood and applied in practice beyond just the theoretical definitions.
It seems like a very practical approach, especially given how quickly DevSecOps is evolving.
Yeah.
The paper emphasizes that understanding the security implications of DevOps is crucial before diving into DevSecOps itself.
Right.
And I found it interesting how they analyzed this impact in terms of both risks and opportunities.
Yes. The paper highlights that while DevOps offers significant benefits, it also introduces those unique security challenges.
Oh.
For instance, the emphasis on speed and agility in DevOps can sometimes lead to security being sidelined,
Right.
potentially leaving systems vulnerable.
It's like trying to optimize for speed
Right.
without considering the potential trade-offs in terms of security.
Exactly. The paper also notes that security testing is often tacked on at the end of the development lifecycle,
Oh.
making it difficult to address vulnerabilities efficiently.
Hmm.
This reactive approach can leave organizations scrambling to fix issues after software is already deployed.
Yeah, it sounds like trying to apply a Band-Aid to a problem that requires more comprehensive surgery.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
Another risk the paper points out is the shift towards cloud-based infrastructure and microservices in DevOps,
Okay.
which introduces new security challenges that traditional security measures aren't always equipped to handle.
So it's about recognizing that the move to these new technologies requires a reevaluation of existing security practices.
Precisely, however, the paper doesn't just focus on the risks. It also highlights how the standardized pipeline in DevOps can be a valuable framework for enhancing security.
Okay, that's an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
Could you elaborate on how DevOps can actually be leveraged to improve security?
The paper suggests that practices like automation testing and fast feedback loops, which are core to DevOps, can be adapted to seamlessly incorporate security measures.
Okay.
For example, automating security tasks can allow organizations to maintain a rapid development pace without compromising security.
So rather than viewing security as an obstacle, it can be integrated into the existing DevOps workflow.
Exactly. The paper argues that this integrated approach is at the heart of what DevSecOps is all about.
Speaking of DevSecOps, the paper acknowledges that while it's generally seen as an extension of DevOps, there are various interpretations of what it actually entails.
Right.
It uses the familiar framework of capabilities, cultural enablers, and technological enablers to categorize these diverse understandings.
That's right. Under capabilities, the paper highlights two key aspects of DevSecOps: shifting security left and continuous security. Shifting security left means integrating security into the entire development process,
Yeah.
rather than treating it as a separate phase.
So it's about making security an inherent part of every stage, from planning and design to coding, testing, and deployment.
Precisely, continuous security, on the other hand, emphasizes the need for ongoing learning and adaptation of security practices as the development process evolves.
It sounds like a dynamic approach to security, recognizing that threats are constantly evolving and security measures need to keep pace.
Exactly. The paper then moves on to cultural enablers, which are essential for creating an environment where DevSecOps can flourish.
Okay.
Three key cultural shifts are highlighted: shared responsibility, improved communication, and a security-aware culture.
Shared responsibility, does that mean moving away from the traditional model where security is solely the responsibility of a dedicated team?
Yes, it's about fostering a sense of collective ownership of security across all teams involved in the development process. When everyone feels accountable for security, it becomes a natural consideration rather than an afterthought.
It's like the saying, it takes a village.
Yeah.
And what about improved communication? Why is that so critical in a DevSecOps context?
Improved communication is vital for breaking down silos between development operations and security teams.
Yeah.
It's about fostering a culture where security concerns can be openly discussed and addressed collaboratively without fear of blame.
So it's about creating a safe space for open dialogue about security risks and vulnerabilities.
Precisely. Finally, the paper emphasizes the importance of cultivating a security-aware culture within the organization.
What does a security-aware culture look like in practice?
It's an environment where security is not just a set of rules, but a core value that's ingrained in every decision and action.
Yeah.
It's about proactively identifying and mitigating risks, constantly learning from both successes and failures, and continuously improving security practices.
Yeah, sounds like a culture where security is everyone's priority, not just the responsibility of a select few.
Exactly. Now, let's shift our focus to the technological enablers that underpin DevSecOps.
Okay.
The paper highlights two key enablers: automation of security tasks and integration of security into the infrastructure itself.
Given our listeners' background, I'm sure they're particularly interested in the automation aspect.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on how this plays out in DevSecOps?
The paper discusses how automation can encompass a wide range of security tasks, from code analysis to vulnerability scanning to security testing.
Okay.
It's about embedding security checks throughout the entire development pipeline.
So it's about leveraging automation to streamline security processes and keep pace with the rapid development cycles characteristic of DevOps.
Exactly. The second technological enabler focuses on integrating security into the infrastructure itself.
Okay.
This means baking security into the very fabric of cloud platforms, containerization technologies, and microservices architectures.
So it's about ensuring that the foundation upon which software is built is secure from the ground up, rather than trying to add security as an afterthought.
That's a good way to put it. Now, the paper doesn't just stop at these conceptual understandings.
Yeah.
It delves into specific DevSecOps practices observed in the real world,
Okay.
categorizing them into three areas: process infrastructure and collaboration.
Let's start with the process category. What are some of the security practices being integrated into the different phases of the software development lifecycle?
The paper provides a comprehensive overview, starting with the planning phase.
Okay.
Practices like threat modeling are crucial here. This involves identifying potential threats early on,
Right.
assessing their impact, and developing mitigation strategies.
It's like anticipating potential security issues before they even arrive, rather than waiting to react after a problem occurs.
Precisely in the coding phase, the paper highlights the importance of practices like static code analysis and code reviews.
Yeah.
Static code analysis automatically scans code for vulnerabilities and security flaws, while code reviews provide that crucial human element ensuring code quality and adherence to security standards.
It's like having a double layer of protection, combining the efficiency of automated tools with the insights and expertise of human reviewers. What about the build phase?
In the build phase, practices like dependency analysis and unit testing play a vital role.
Okay.
Dependency analysis ensures that the software relies on secure and up-to-date components,
Right.
while unit testing helps verify that individual units of code function correctly and securely.
So it's like ensuring that the building blocks of your software are sound and that each piece functions securely on its own.
Oh, that's a good way to think about it next. In the testing phase, the paper highlights a range of practices,
Okay.
including SAST and DAST, as well as automated attacks that simulate real-world attack scenarios.
So it's not just about finding bugs, but also about actively trying to break the software to identify vulnerabilities before attackers do.
Exactly. It's about proactively testing the software's defenses against potential attacks. Finally, in the operation phase, the paper emphasizes practices like continuous monitoring for suspicious activities, employing automated security checks, and utilizing techniques like red teaming and bug bounty programs to further strengthen the software's defenses.
So it's about maintaining a state of constant vigilance and continuously testing and improving the software's security posture.
Precisely. And in addition to these core practices, the paper highlights the importance of cyber threat intelligence solutions, which automate the collection and analysis of threat data to provide valuable insights for proactively addressing emerging security risks.
It's like having a dedicated team of security analysts working around the clock to identify and neutralize threats before they can cause damage.
So far.
We've discussed how security can be integrated into the software development process itself.
Right.
What about the infrastructure upon which the software is built?
That's the next area the paper explores.
Okay.
It delves into specific practices for securing the infrastructure, focusing on secrets management, configuration management, and version control.
Secrets management, is that about securely storing and managing sensitive information, like passwords and API keys?
Yes. It's about protecting these secrets from unauthorized access and ensuring they are used securely throughout the development process.
It's like having a digital vault for your most sensitive data, with strict access controls and auditing mechanisms.
Exactly. Configuration management is another crucial practice.
Yeah.
It ensures that systems are configured correctly and consistently, reducing the risk of human error making it easier to enforce security policies and facilitating automated audits and remediation.
It sounds like having a blueprint for your infrastructure that ensures everything is built and maintained to the highest security standards.
Precisely. Finally, version control is also highlighted as an essential practice for security.
Okay.
It allows teams to track changes to code configurations and infrastructure over time, providing a valuable audit trail for security investigations and making it easier to roll back changes in case of a security incident.
It's like having a time machine for your infrastructure, allowing you to revert to a previous state if something goes wrong. We've covered the process and infrastructure aspects of DevSecOps. What about the collaborative aspects that the paper highlights?
The paper emphasizes the importance of fostering a culture of shared responsibility and open communication.
Right.
It specifically highlights two practices that contribute to this: security champions and targeted training programs.
Security champions sound like individuals within development teams who act as advocates and experts on security matters.
You're right. They serve as a bridge between security teams and developers, translating security requirements into practical implementation steps, promoting security awareness within their teams, and advocating for secure coding practices.
So it's like having security ambassadors embedded within each team, fostering a security-first mindset from within.
Exactly. The paper also stresses the importance of ongoing training as a key aspect of DevSecOps. This involves equipping everyone involved in the development process with the knowledge and skills needed to effectively address the evolving security landscape.
It's about creating a culture of continuous learning and development around security, ensuring that everyone is up to speed on the latest threats, vulnerabilities, and best practices.
That's right. Now there's a thought-provoking point the paper raises about the lack of consensus around the term DevSecOps itself. Some practitioners believe that security should be inherently part of DevOps and see no need for a separate term.
So it's like asking, is DevSecOps a distinct concept, or is it simply DevOps done right?
Precisely. The paper acknowledges this debate and suggests that the real differentiator of DevSecOps may lie in the automation and efficiency of security practices integrated into the fast-paced DevOps environment. It's not just about doing security, but about doing it in a way that seamlessly supports the speed and agility of DevOps.
It's about finding the right balance between robust security and the need for rapid development.
Exactly. However, achieving this balance is not without its challenges.
And that's what we'll be exploring next. We'll delve into the challenges of implementing DevSecOps.
Right.
Join us for part 2 of our deep dive.
Welcome back. Let's dive into the challenges of implementing DevSecOps. A topic that the paper explores in detail. It identifies both internal and external hurdles that organizations often encounter.
Let's start with the internal challenges. The paper highlights 3 primary ones: culture resistance, high costs, and solidified organizational structures.
Yeah, culture resistance is often a major obstacle. Organizations may struggle to adopt the collaborative and security-focused mindset that DevSecOps requires. Traditional silos between development operations and security teams can be difficult to break down.
It's about shifting from a culture of "that's not my job" to a culture of shared responsibility for security, which can be a significant hurdle for some organizations.
Exactly. The paper also notes that the cost of implementing DevSecOps can be a deterrent. It often requires investments in new tools, training programs for staff, and potentially even restructuring teams to foster better collaboration.
So it's an investment that requires careful consideration and resource allocation, but an investment in the long-term security and resilience of the organization.
That's right. The third internal challenge highlighted is the presence of solidified organizational structures. Those traditional silos between departments can hinder the cross-functional collaboration that is so essential for DevSecOps.
It's about breaking down those walls, promoting communication and collaboration, and fostering a shared understanding of the importance of security across all teams.
Precisely. And now let's move on to the external challenges that organizations face when trying to adopt DevSecOps.
What are some of the key external hurdles the paper identifies?
The paper points to 3 main external challenges: a lack of DevSecOps experts, limitations of existing security tools, and the lack of mature DevSecOps solutions in the market.
The lack of DevSecOps experts makes sense given that it's a relatively new and specialized field.
Yes. Organizations often struggle to find individuals with the right combination of security and DevOps expertise who can seamlessly integrate security practices into a fast-paced development environment.
It sounds like finding and retaining top talent in this field can be a real challenge.
Absolutely. The paper also highlights the limitations of existing security tools as a major hurdle. Many traditional security tools were designed for slower, more traditional development models.
Right.
and may not be well suited for the dynamic, automated nature of DevOps.
So it's about finding tools that can keep up with the speed and agility of DevSecOps without compromising security.
Precisely. The last external challenge the paper discusses is the lack of mature DevSecOps solutions in the market. Finding comprehensive solutions tailored to DevSecOps can be challenging as the market is still evolving.
It's a rapidly developing landscape, and organizations often find themselves piecing together solutions from different vendors or even relying on custom-built tools.
That's right. So, as you can see, implementing DevSecOps is not without its challenges, both internal and external. However, the potential benefits in terms of improved security and reduced risk are significant.
It's about weighing those challenges against the potential rewards and making a strategic decision based on the specific needs and circumstances of the organization.
Exactly. Now, I think it's important to connect these insights back to our listeners' areas of expertise.
Yes, let's shift our focus to the practical implications of DevSecOps for those working in machine learning, data science, and mathematics.
Given your background, you can appreciate that the principles of DevSecOps, particularly automation, continuous learning, and shared responsibility, are highly relevant to these fields.
Absolutely. The emphasis on automation in DevSecOps aligns perfectly with the principles that drive machine learning and data science. Just as we automate model training and data analysis, we can automate security tasks like vulnerability scanning and code analysis.
That's a great point. It's about applying those existing automation skills and principles to enhance the security of the systems that underpin your work.
And the focus on continuous learning and improvement in DevSecOps translates directly to the iterative nature of machine learning and data science. Just as we refine our models and algorithms based on new data and feedback, we need to continuously adapt and improve our security practices in response to evolving threats.
Exactly. It's about applying that same iterative and data-driven mindset to security.
The emphasis on collaboration in DevSecOps is also crucial for those working in fields like machine learning and data science, where projects often involve teams of specialists with diverse expertise. Just as we collaborate with data engineers, software developers, and business stakeholders, we need to collaborate with security professionals to build secure and resilient systems.
That's a key point. It's recognizing that security is not just a technical challenge, but a human one that requires effective communication, collaboration, and a shared understanding of the risks and responsibilities.
And given the complex, often cloud-based infrastructure used in machine learning and data science, those practices we discussed around secrets management, configuration management, and version control become even more critical.
You're absolutely right. It's about ensuring that the foundations upon which your models and data pipelines are built are secure and well managed.
So how can our listeners, with their expertise in machine learning, data science, and mathematics, practically apply these principles to their work? What concrete steps can they take?
There are several things they can do first. I'd recommend incorporating automated security testing into their machine learning pipelines. There are tools and frameworks available that can help identify vulnerabilities to adversarial attacks, assess the robustness of their models, and detect anomalies in real time.
It's about leveraging those automation skills they already possess to enhance the security of their work.
Exactly. Second, it's crucial to stay informed about emerging security threats and vulnerabilities relevant to their specific field. Subscribing to security newsletters, attending conferences, and engaging with the security community can help them stay ahead of the curve.
It's about applying that same thirst for knowledge and continuous learning that drives their work to the realm of security. What else can they do?
They can also become advocates for security within their teams and organizations, talking to colleagues about the importance of secure coding practices. Data privacy and robust model development can help foster a culture of security awareness and shared responsibility.
It's about being a security champion, not just in title, but in their everyday actions and interactions.
Precisely, and finally, don't hesitate to reach out to security professionals for guidance and support. Security is a complex and evolving field, and there are experts who can help navigate the challenges and implement effective security measures.
It's about recognizing that they don't have to be security experts themselves to contribute to a more secure environment. Collaboration is key.
Exactly. By embracing the principles of DevSec's automation, continuous learning, and shared responsibility, and by actively engaging with the security community, they can leverage their expertise in machine learning, data science, and mathematics to build a more secure and resilient future.
Well said. We've covered a lot of ground in this part of our deep dive, exploring the challenges of implementing DevSecOps and how those challenges and the principles of DevSecOps apply to the fields of machine learning, data science, and mathematics.
And in our final part, we'll bring it all together, reflecting on the key takeaways from our exploration of this paper and leaving our listeners with some final thoughts to ponder.
I'm looking forward to it. Join us for the conclusion of our deep dive into DevSecOps. Welcome back to our deep dive into DevSecOps.
Yeah.
We've been exploring its principles, practices, and challenges, focusing on how it applies to your areas of expertise in machine learning, data science, and mathematics.
We've delved into the nuances of integrating security into fast-paced development environments, the cultural shifts needed for DevSecOps to thrive, and practical steps you can take to enhance security in your work.
As we wrap up, let's reflect on the key takeaways from this paper.
Okay.
What are the most important insights for our listeners?
First, security is not solely a technical issue,
Right.
but a multifaceted challenge requiring a holistic approach. It's about weaving security into the development process from planning to operation.
It's about shifting from a reactive siloed approach to a proactive collaborative one, where everyone shares responsibility for security.
Precisely. This shift is especially crucial in machine learning and data science, where the systems we build are becoming increasingly complex and interconnected. The second takeaway is that DevSecOps is not a one-size-fits-all solution.
It's not about blindly following a checklist, but understanding the core principles of DevSecOps automation, continuous learning, and shared responsibility, and applying them thoughtfully to your unique circumstances.
Exactly. This leads to the third takeaway. The importance of continuous learning and adaptation. The security landscape is constantly evolving with new threats and vulnerabilities emerging all the time.
So it's not enough to just implement security measures. Once you need to continuously evaluate your security posture, learn from incidents, and adapt your practices to stay ahead of the curve.
And that's where your expertise in machine learning, data science, and mathematics is so valuable. You have the skills and mindset to approach security as an iterative, data-driven process. You can leverage automation to streamline security tasks, analyze security incidents to identify patterns and root causes, and use your mathematical and statistical expertise to develop robust models that are resistant to attacks.
You can be true security champions, not just in title, but in your everyday work.
And as you continue in these fields, I encourage you to embrace the principles of DevSecOps and make security an integral part of everything you do.
Because the systems we build are only as strong as their weakest link. And in today's interconnected world, security is everyone's responsibility.
Before we conclude, I'd like to leave you with a final thought. We've discussed how DevSecOps principles can be applied to the technical aspects of machine learning, data science, and mathematics.
But what about the ethical implications? We touched on this briefly earlier.
Yes. It's a crucial aspect that warrants further consideration. As we build increasingly powerful and autonomous systems, we need to ensure they are not only secure, but also aligned with our values and ethical principles.
So it's not just about protecting systems from attacks, but also ensuring those systems are used responsibly and ethically.
Exactly. The principles of DevSecOps, particularly shared responsibility and continuous learning, can guide us here. We need to engage in open discussions about the potential ethical implications of the systems we build.
We need to consider not just the intended consequences of our work, but also the unintended ones.
And we need to be prepared to adapt and refine our practices as our understanding of these ethical challenges evolves. It's a complex and ongoing conversation, but one we must have to create a future where technology serves humanity positively and beneficially.
That's a powerful and thought-provoking message to end on. We've explored DevSecOps, its practical applications, and broader ethical implications.
It's been a fascinating deep dive, and I hope you feel equipped with the knowledge and inspiration to make security an integral part of your work.
Thank you for joining us on the deep dive. Until next time, keep learning, keep innovating, and keep building a more secure and ethical future.